Hey guys and dolls, that was very, very strange. The video just like froze as I was recording it. So I wasn't intending to do a split video today, but here we go. So now let's start into number 26. I kind of started that in the last video, but I'll just go ahead and repeat it here. But you need to have a garage sale 2 times to 4 times a year. Now, if you have an apartment, it's a little bit challenging to have a garage sale 2 times to 4 times a year. But if you have a friend that has a garage, there you go. All right. A lot of times local areas, depending on where you live, they have either weekly or monthly, community kind of garage sale, flea market finds where sometimes they charge you a fee to set up a table and sometimes they don't. A lot of times you can, ask a local church if you can use their parking lot or a school if you can use their parking lot, or anything like that. So just kind of get creative. If you don't actually have a garage, but if you do have a garage or if you live in a neighborhood, there's no excuse for you not to have a garage sale 2 times to 4 times a year. It's a good way to get rid of stuff and a good way to make some extra cash too. Number 25, discount stores for name brand items. All right. Now, what I'm saying here is not like your regular ABC Joe's discount store. Okay. What I'm talking about here are stores like name brand Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom, Pottery Barn, Gap, Williams Sonoma. Any of those brand names that generally speaking, the quality of the items is going to be better. Okay, they actually have discount outlet stores. Now, they're not in every single city. So if you live in a little small town, you might have to make the trip. But you can also go online and look for their clearance center tab on their website. Okay, and that's another good way that if you, this is how I generally do things. Instead of buying a bunch of junk, I save up money and then I buy one really nice item that's going to last for a long time. So maybe you want to kind of take that into heart too. But yeah, that's the best way to do, to buy if you really must have name brands. That's the best way to do it is find their discount stores. Also, this thought just came to my mind too. Stores like Sears that sell, appliances and big ticket items generally. They have places called scratch and dent stores, and this is where they sell their display models, or maybe if somebody returned an item or whatever. And I have gotten almost exclusively, up till living in an apartment, all of my appliances from scratch and dent, because a lot of times the scratch is a small scratch on the side of the, refrigerator that's going to be up against the wall anyway. So as long as it's clean and functioning well and isn't torn apart, there's no reason not to get something like that. And you can get a dramatic discount on those things. Okay, number 24, this is kind of a small one again, and 23 actually goes hand in hand with this, but you will want to dislount. What is dislount? That's not even a word. You want to dilute your dishwashing liquid. That's number 24, and number 23 is dilute hand soap. So if you get like, the little pump soap at the grocery store for, the bathroom, and it's cute and it's colorful and it has a little decorative, container that it's in, that's fine, but you're paying a ton of money for that. And most people, they push a full pump all the way down and they get a big glob in their hand and then it takes them forever to get it cleaned off. No one needs that much soap. The way soaps and detergents are made today, they're highly concentrated. Even if they don't say they're highly concentrated, they actually are. So you need much less of it, and it can go a lot further. So definitely get, like I have a Pampered Chef Suds pump for by the sink. You don't have to get Pampered Chef brand. I know they have them at Bed Bath & Beyond and Target and things like that. And then same thing with the hand soap. And the whole thing about diluting the hand soap, you can have cute little bathroom soap dispensers, and just dilute the soap a little bit. And I would say it's probably about maybe half and half water, half soap in the bathroom, and in the kitchen it's going to be even less soap than that, and it lasts forever. For example, I buy a regular hand dishwash soap container that's about this big, and it lasts me for about 2 years, generally speaking. So there you go. That's number 24 and number 23. So let's move on to number 22 if I can get my paper turned here. The next one is going to be the juice trick that I have, and I think I've shown this before on video, but I'm putting it in here. And this can hold true for not only juice, but like any kind of concentrated sports drink that you make from powder, or anything that's frozen that you would dilute. But basically, if you're looking at frozen juice, it generally says, for one of those frozen cans, you add 3 cans of that same thing of water into a pitcher. Well, I always do 4 cans. Not only does it help cut down on the sugar, which is calories, it makes the taste not quite so strong. Little children, I started doing this when my son was little because the apple juice was too strong, and we've just never changed back. And so it's a great way to make the juice last longer. And like I said, it cuts down on calories and everything like that per serving. Number 21 is shop with a list always. Whether it is Christmas gift time, whether it is school clothes or school supplies, whether it is the weekly grocery list. You never go shopping anywhere without a list. And here's why. If it's on the list, you can buy it without thinking about it. Okay, so the next thing that you would have to decide is the size that you want to get. Do I want to get the little soap or the big soap? And then also then you can determine brand. Do I want to spend a little bit more on a brand? But when you have other items that you want to buy that are not on the list, those are called impulse buys, and you do not buy them on impulse. What you can do is you can write them on the list to think about to get the next week that you go to the store. Okay, that's the biggest problem, is impulse buying kills the budget and kills the money fast. So definitely never shop without a list. And like I said, that even holds true if you're going to the mall and like you want to get a pair of jeans, some new socks, a pair of tennis shoes, and a new purse. That should be the only things you come home with, period. Not 2 purses, not 5 pairs of jeans, okay? That should be the only thing that you have. And then if you're out and you find a great dress that you think, ooh, I really could use that dress for whatever event that's coming up, then you write it down, you write how much it is, you go home, you think about it for a week, and then you go back. Okay, you can always ask them to hold it. Okay, they won't generally hold it for a week. But if you decide 3 or 4 days in you want it, you call them back, you ask them to hold it, and then you go pick it up, and then you don't have to worry about it selling when you're not there. Number 20, this is a big one. I actually have a star next to it. You never give away control of your money. Now, that doesn't mean you don't hire a professional if you need them for consulting purposes, all right? But you never hand over control of your money, whether it's investing, whether it is like you have an accountant that pays your bills for you. Come on, get real. No, you don't ever, I don't care how wealthy you get, I don't care how famous you get, okay? You never hand over control of your money to anyone. Susie Ormond, one of the things that she says is that you do not ever do like auto pay for your monthly bills, for your mortgage, for your car payment, or anything. You never do that. It's your choice if you want to pay online or by paper check or cashier's check. That's your choice, but you do not ever do auto pay on anything. So remember that. And if you're on auto pay stuff right now, get off now, immediately. Number 19, pay yourself before you pay your bills. Okay, the way that I do it is when money comes in, I set aside my part for donation or charity that I want to do. Then the next thing I do is I pay myself, and then I pay the bills. And then, there's savings and stuff after that can come in, or entertainment. But that is definitely the way that you need to do it, because otherwise you're putting yourself in slave mode, where the money comes in and you give it to everyone who tells you to give them money, and then you end up with nothing for yourself. Okay, so you cannot do that. Now, I understand if you're on a tight budget, I get that. I understand that more than you will ever know. I understand that. But the whole point of it is that you've got to set yourself up where you're not feeling like you're out of control and that your money literally comes in and goes out. So you've got to set some aside for yourself. And when I say pay yourself, that doesn't mean you pay yourself and you go blow it, okay, on something stupid. You pay yourself, that means you put it in savings. You put it in an investment, okay? Definitely. Number 18, unplug items when they're not in use. I have a lot of people comment on a video that I made about how to save some money on electricity, and they say, no, you can't do that, and that's not possible, and that doesn't work, and they supposedly have all this proof, that I'm wrong. Well, that's fine. All I know is I unplug my stuff when it's not in use, And yeah, I have really low electric bills compared to most of the people around me. And the benefit of that is, like in the summertime when it gets baking hot here, I can afford to crank my AC a little bit, or in the winter when we have a couple of cold days here in Texas, I can afford to crank my heater a little bit because I don't have other things on. And along those same lines is, if you're at home watching TV, you don't need the upstairs light in the bathroom on. So make sure you turn off lights when you leave the room. You know, if you're not in another room, shut those lights off. There's no reason to have them on, and you really don't need 17 clocks plugged in every room. Okay, so make sure you unplug the coffee pot because it has a clock on it, and if that coffee pot is plugged in, energy is going to it to run the stupid clock on the coffee pot, and you don't need that. So make sure you unplug your appliances when not in use. Number 17, beware of buying in bulk. You know, a lot of people talk about the stores, you know, any kind of the wholesale discount, big box stores and stuff like that, and even just regular retail chains that are touted as, you know, being a steep discount. This is true of that. Beware of buying in bulk because, yeah, you may use, you know, 50 rolls of toilet paper, but do you really have room to store them? And have you ever seen what happens to toilet paper when it's stored for too long? It gets weird feeling, it gets dusty feeling. I don't want to, you know, use that if it feels weird, you know. So be careful when you're buying in bulk. Make sure that it's a reasonable purchase. Make sure you can store it without it pushing other things out of the way. Most people that live in a modest sized dwelling cannot afford the space for bulk buying or the cost of it. So, you know, if you just must buy in bulk, then what you need to do is get a small co-op of you and, you know, 4 or 5 of your friends that y'all all agree on the same thing, then buy in bulk and divide it up per family. Okay, that's one way that you can do that. Also, beware the dollar store, and hopefully there are a few of y'all out there that do Dollar Tree hauls after haul after haul. And I'm glad that you can, and I'm not trying to take that away from anybody. And it's wonderful, you know, to see those. But be careful of that, because at the Dollar Tree, they do have some awesome discounted items that $1 is worth it. But then I see other times people are buying stuff for $1, and I'm going, you could get that for 50 cents at Target, or it's $1 at the Dollar Tree, but it's 78 cents at the grocery store, and it's a grocery item. And I'm going, don't, again, it's like impulse buying, you know, at the Dollar Tree. Don't do that. Now, one story I will say that was a Dollar Tree purchase that was really good. And I told this to somebody recently, one of my viewers. I had bought 2 little ceramic, like kind of garden look, you know, spring themed items at the Dollar Tree, or at the Dollar, I don't know which one it was, dollar store. And then when my ex-husband, or, you know, at that time husband, but soon to be ex-husband, when he just, you know, moved out one day and I had to sell everything, I actually sold those in my estate sale for $10 each, because they had a perceived visual look value of more than $1. So that's what I would suggest if you're going to go to the dollar store, is simply look for things that you know you can't necessarily find somewhere else, or that they are just on an outrageously awesome discount. And you're like, I cannot believe this, you know, this ice chest is $1. I can't believe this 32-ounce cooler is $1. Of course, that's a good buy, you know, but how many of those do you really need? So be careful at the dollar store. Number 15, shop the U at the grocery store. Here in America is the only ones that I can talk about. I would imagine Canada is the same, but anywhere else, I don't know if this holds true, because I think they still have stores for like the meat market, the bread market, the, you know, fruit and vegetable market. But basically at a grocery store, and think of your favorite grocery store right now, in the U shape is where you're going to find your ingredients. Fruits and vegetables, the bakery department, the meat, fish department, the dairy department, eggs, cheese, yogurt, things like that. So that's in the U shape generally. That's where you want to go. Now, the only other really main aisle would be like the spices, flour, sugar ingredient aisle. Okay, but other than that, everything else is pretty much prepackaged food that you can do yourself at home for a lot less. Now, there are treats. Of course, my son and I love double stuffed Oreos. So, you know, allow yourself a treat, absolutely. But if you're leaving with more boxes and bags than you are, you know, like individual items or chicken breasts or things like, or, you know, blocks of cheese, or, you know, sticks of butter, beware. Okay, so definitely shop the U-shape at your grocery store. Number 14, it's okay to make payments on a car to get you to and from work, but you never make payments on a luxury car. Never, ever, ever, never, ever, never, ever. And then on top of that, you never lease a vehicle. Always purchase one, keep your cars maintained, and they will last you for at least 10 years, unless you put like 150 miles on them a day commuting to work, and then they would probably last you about 5 or 6 years. Okay, but never ever do that. And I'm not, there's no arguing with me, because that's just the hard and fast rule. You never lease a car, period, end of discussion. As an individual, business, totally different. Number 13, never say no to money. Pick up money on the street. Check the coin returns in vending machines. If it's legal, moral, and ethical, never say no to money. If somebody wants to give you money, take it graciously. Like if you, ran their kid back and forth and they say, here, thank you, here's $5, take it. All right. Never say no to money. And my son would literally call me sometimes when he, at high school and even now at college, he talks about the score he'll make on vending machines, that he'll buy something and either 2 or 3 bags of chips will fall down as he's getting one, or he walks up and there's $1.50 in the coin return. So people still, this is the whole thing, is that we've gotten to the point where if it's a quarter, it's not, that's nothing. I want $5. Well, I'd rather take a handful of quarters than a $5, is the way that I look at it. I'll take it all. I'm telling y'all to take it all too, but never say no to money. Okay, period. As long as it's legal, moral, and ethical. Number 12. On your mortgage for your home, I had to figure out, I couldn't read my own writing there for a minute. So on a mortgage, if you're getting a mortgage, qualify on 1 salary, not 2. Okay, so again, if you have 2 people working in the household and, one of you is, kind of the mindset of wants to be staying home with the kids and all this kind of stuff, maybe at some point in the future, or maybe you are now, definitely only qualify for a mortgage on 1 salary. Now, even if you never intend to have children, and even if both of you intend to work forever, because I know a lot of couples that get married and they never have kids or want them, and they're both going to work, and that's great. But here's the beauty of it. You've got that second income to go absolutely crazy with, or invest, or, have fun with. So definitely goes along the same lines as I said earlier. You never live off of 2 incomes, so you never qualify for a mortgage on a house on 2 incomes. Period, end of discussion. I don't want to hear it. Just don't do it. Number 11, debt. Use a debit card, not a credit card. Okay, credit cards are awful, horrible, terrible things. You're not going to get me to think any differently. I personally never had an issue with the credit cards. I've never had an issue with credit cards. It was the people I got involved with that had issues with credit cards. And then now it's identity theft, which is the problem. Okay, so if we were 50 years ago, I'd say, yeah, credit cards are fine. But don't do credit cards, period, end of discussion. Okay, you must have a debit card, which is basically like a credit card. It looks like one. It functions the same way. I don't have to remember my PIN on anything. And so definitely use a debit card, because you can use those the same for like, any kind of purchases you want to do. Now, if you do travel a lot, then maybe for business or whatever, I would suggest 1 credit card, because sometimes you have to reserve a hotel or things like that. But understand, the caveat being is traveling a lot. Credit card, don't say, well, I shop a lot. Can't I use a credit card for that? No, you cannot. No credit cards. Use a debit card only. Number 10, take 10% off the top. Just in general, be bold. When you are buying anything, ask for a 10% discount. You may not can get it, but you can get it. That's on the discount end. Now on the other end, 10% off the top, that's any money that comes into your house. So the found money, like I was talking about, 10% of that. So if you find, a dollar, 10 cents needs to go into some savings somewhere. You can spend the other 90 if it's found money, or you can, put it in the budget or whatever. But, your salary that comes in, any money that comes in from stuff you've sold, 10% off the top automatically. So you've got it at both ends. The discount 10% off the top and the saving or paying yourself 10% off the top. Number 9, cell phones are a luxury, not a necessity. Period. End of discussion. I don't care who you are. Cell phones are a luxury. All right. The small percentage of people who are truly self-employed and who truly do not have an office and are truly one individual, they have no employees, again, at an office situation, okay? I don't care what anybody says, cell phones are a luxury, they are not a necessity, okay? And I thought I was a freak, that I was the only person in the world that didn't have a cell phone. I posted a comment the other day on social media, and there's about 4 or 5 people that say they don't have them as well. I used to have a cell phone, so it's not like I've never had one. And no, I'm not against technology. I'm against cell phones. They are not needed. I don't care. If you have an office with a phone, the messages can go there. You're not that important, okay? No one is that important that they need the phone in their hand right there. Number 8, one in, one out. You buy a pair of shoes, you get rid of a pair of shoes. You buy a new dress, you get rid of an old dress. You buy a new game, you get rid of an old game. Okay? You buy a new stuffed animal for your kiddo, a new toy for your kiddo, one goes out. One in, one out. That's the way it goes. Number 7, never shop when you're hungry. Never go to the grocery store when you're hungry. And this is the weird thing. Before you go to a restaurant to eat, get like, a piece of lunch meat and eat that. Get, a cracker or 2. Get something in your mouth and in your stomach to just kind of quell your hunger, because otherwise you're going to order 2 or 3 appetizers. You want the soup and the salad and the entree and the dessert and 4 or 5 beverages. That's too much food for anybody. So never go to buy food when you're hungry. Number 6, layaway, not credit. There are plenty of stores still in this world that offer layaway. What is layaway, you ask? Layaway is when you have a whole bunch of stuff you're wanting to purchase, and you say, I'd like to purchase this, and generally they have you put a percent down. It can be anywhere from 10 to 50%. You put that down, and then you pay it off, and that can be anywhere from 30 days to 90 days. I haven't really seen anywhere that does more than 90 days, except maybe Christmas gifts and things like that at some of the, like Kmart, Walmart, Sam's, not Sam's, but you know what I'm saying, any of those kind of places. Not everybody has a layaway, and not everybody advertises that they have a layaway. So at your favorite clothing store, next time you're in there, not a department store, but an individual boutique store, I would just ask them, say, do y'all have layaway available? Just ask. You can find out really quick. Number 5, everything has a value. That means everything is saleable. I've said this a million times over and over again. Yes, the item may have been bought retail for $100. And that was 10 years ago. And even though it's in good condition, did you get any use out of it in the 10 years? If so, think about that, of the use of the item, and, start deducting off that $100 and sell that sucker. Take it to the pawn shop. Take it to a consignment store. If you are in such a place of your taxes that you can itemize your taxes and get a discount for charitable donations, donate it to charity, because then you can actually donate it for a little bit higher value. But everything does have a value. Don't throw anything away. Before you just throw stuff in the trash can, please give it to charity. Even if it's broken, even if it's damaged, because a lot of times they can fix it, or they can take it apart for parts and pieces. Number 4, always buy cars, never lease. And I've already mentioned that one earlier. I forgot I had that one up there, but that's definitely a thing. You never lease a car. You always buy a car. The only time leasing a car makes sense is if you are maybe a traveling salesperson that you cover a region of 5 states. And I do know people that are like this. And you can deduct that as a business expense, because you're going to be putting so many miles on it. You're going to need a new car frequently. But for most people, never lease a car. Never, ever lease a car. Never. It is much better to have a car that's a few years old, that's running good, that you own, that cannot be taken away from you, than to start panicking when you can't pay the bills and you're afraid they're going to come repossess your car and kick you out of your house, and then you literally have nowhere to go. and by no means by which to get there to nowhere. Number 3, if it ain't broke, sell it. That's how I feel about it. If you've got, multiples of stuff, or if you find yourself in a dire situation, or hopefully more than anything, so many of the times I think I tend to focus on, if you're in a desperate situation with regards to getting money, because that's why I think a lot of people, watch these videos. But more than anything, if it ain't broke, don't sell it. That holds true for anybody. Again, if your kid, my kid, is 19, I ain't going to be having more babies anytime soon, so why the heck am I keeping all of his baby clothes? And I'm really not. I just have a few pieces left. But, it's okay to keep 1 or 2 items, but you don't need 20 items from when they wore the 3-month size, and 20 items from when they wore the year size, and 20 items from when they were toddlers, and 20 items and all their shoes. And, that's ridiculous. Get rid of that stuff. If it's not broke, sell it. Number 2, never pay full price. Never pay full price. Get a coupon, get a discount, go on a sale day, use a gift card that was given to you, ask for a discount. Like with cars especially, never pay the sticker price, okay? There's always a negotiation level in there, even on a home and things like that. Now, if you run into somebody that won't negotiate, walk away, especially if it's a big ticket item, walk away, but never pay full price. And the number 1 thing of rules for living on less is always remember, money is a tool, not a toy, and you need to treat it thusly. Tools should be taken care of. Tools have a special place to go. Tools are in an area where everybody knows where it is, and tools are not to be treated with disrespect and left out in the yard and stuff like that. So think about it. Tools versus toys. Money is a tool. And on that note, guys and dolls, it's been a long video. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a delicious, delightful, delirious day. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.